I have always prided myself on being grounded in reality. As a software engineer, my life was a tapestry of routines and rationality. Every night, after a final scroll through my phone, I would turn off the lights and slip beneath the crisp sheets of my bed, a gift from my parents when I moved into my own place. It was a sanctuary I believed to be free of childhood fears and imagined monsters. My dreams were usually mundane, echoes of daily life, until that fateful night when subtleties began to fray the edges of my reality. That night was unlike any other. The air was heavy with an unusual chill that seemed to seep into my bones. As I lay in bed, the digital clock's glow was the only beacon in the dark. But as I closed my eyes, the comforting red numbers seemed to bleed into the darkness, elongating and distorting. I told myself it was stress or perhaps the Thai food I had for dinner, yet the room felt different, too still, too silent. My eyes, driven by instinct, darted to the space beneath my bed. An abyss greeted me, a void pulsing with unseen life that sent chills racing down my spine. Morning brought no relief. My routine felt off-kilter, as if the world had tilted ever so slightly on its axis. The coffee tasted more bitter, the news more grim, and the shadows in my apartment clung too stubbornly to the walls. The clock ticked slower, a sluggish heartbeat in the quiet apartment. My family's cheerful texts couldn't pierce through the fog that settled over me. At work, I caught myself staring into voids, the space beneath my desk, the dark corners of the server room, half expecting the abyss from my bedroom to follow me. Night returned, and with it, the dream. No, not a dream, a visitation to a room identical to mine, yet tainted with otherworldly malaise. Shadows reached for me, whispering secrets in a language I felt I once knew. I was a marionette, suspended in a world where the strings were pulled by the unseen. The space beneath the bed beckoned, an open maw that promised answers yet threatened to swallow me whole. Each morning I awoke, the line between dream and waking life fraying more with each passing day. Small oddities began to intrude upon my reality. Photographs seemed to rearrange themselves, my keys never where I left them. A cold spot appeared in the shower, a circle of ice amidst the warmth. My cat, Luna, would arch her back and hiss at nothingness as though sensing threats lurking just beyond human perception. The digital clock's numbers flickered ominously, becoming both a sentinel and a harbinger of the night's return to that too-real room. My sleep turned into a vigil, my eyes tracing geometric patterns across the ceiling, a futile attempt to anchor myself to the waking world. But the most harrowing change was the silence. The absence of sound was oppressive, a vacuum that seemed to hum with the breath of something lurking just out of sight. I would lie awake, the weight of the unseen gaze upon me, a scrutiny that seemed to know me more intimately than I knew myself. One night, driven by a desperation I couldn't name, I reached a trembling hand toward the void beneath my bed. The air grew colder, the shadows darker, and just as my fingers brushed the carpet, a whisper caressed my ear, chilling me to my core.
Come play with me.
The days blurred into a monochrome of fear. My once orderly life unraveled as I questioned my sanity, my reality, and the very nature of the darkness that seemed to dwell just below the surface of my existence. The game, if it was a game, had no discernible rules. It existed solely within boundaries crafted by some unseen player whose intentions remained opaque at best, while I stood trapped navigating labyrinthine corridors constructed between light's harsh glare and shadowy depths below. Yet what unsettled me most wasn't merely participating, but realizing how willingly acceptance crept forth amid confusion, filling empty spaces, longing for meaning cleverly disguised within madness. As weeks slipped away unnoticed under thick blankets spun from nightmares stitched together tightly, holding captive truths buried deep beneath layers built carefully atop fragile realities crafted painstakingly over years spent carving out lives deemed ordinary. The creeping darkness spread gradually outward, transforming familiar landscapes and morphing them slowly into something else entirely unfamiliar, almost alien, appearing overnight without warning, lingering just beyond perception's grasp, looming threateningly close, hovering near edges poised and ready to strike should someone dare cross lines previously drawn firmly separating worlds apart. With every passing moment, I wrestled internally, questioning sanity and grasping onto fragments slipping quietly away and disappearing silently, much akin to forgotten memories fading gently into twilight, obscured forevermore, leaving naught behind save echoes haunting footsteps following closely after wherever fate might lead next. And thus, lying dormant under beds everywhere, specters waited patiently, entwined amongst strands woven tightly around hearts beating fervently, yearning desperately to reclaim what had been lost forever. Until finally, surrender met acceptance, cloaked softly beneath a shroud pulled tight against the body, nestled warmly, embracing oblivion drawn nearer still, awaiting eternal rest, free from chains bound tightly fastened long ago, even yours.